For years now, companies both large and small have teased the idea of a PC that's both small enough to be held in your hand and powerful enough to play AAA games. And we've actually gotten close, but never this close. Meet the GPD Win 3. It's got a Core i5 processor with Xe graphics, massive cooling potential, console quality buttons and joysticks, and check this out. It's got a freaking slide up screen. And I'm gonna do it brought to you by Glasswire. Glasswire is the tool that shows you which apps are slowing down your connection in real time. It's used by security pros to monitor for malware, block bandwidth wasters, and detect suspicious activity. Get 25% off using offer code Linus at the link below. Let's get this out of the way. LTTstore.com, by the way. Plug in the included brick, pretty basic power brick. Type-C to Type-C cord. It's nice, has Type-C charging, and first impressions. This thing is freaking heavy. Like, it's substantial. It's got a magnesium alloy chassis, but that still doesn't prevent it from being like hefty in the hand. So there's just gotta be a ton of guts in there. And I guess kind of makes sense. I mean, this is basically a laptop, but like folded over itself and with a really small screen. As for ergonomics, first impressions are not great, to be honest with you. Something that might have helped a little bit for me would be if it was maybe angled out this way a little bit more, just because, you know, your arms come together to hold something. So it's a little unnatural to have your wrists back like this. If you're into racing games, the ergonomics are like basically bang on. We've got dual joysticks, and those are super easy to reach, along with 2 shoulder buttons and 2 trigger buttons. But as soon as I start getting into the D-pad, which is, wow, that is a really nice D-pad. Like, the problem is that, like, holding it, you end up in kind of this weird, like, claw grip, and reaching up to the top, unless you have larger hands, might not be the most comfortable thing ever. There's still a lot of great features packed in here. Both of the joysticks have R3 functionality, so you can click them in to press. The ABXY buttons feel really good too, and this is cool. I remember playing Final Fantasy VII as a kid on a PC emulator, and one of the problems I ran into was trying to blend in with the soldiers as Cloud. You're supposed to like press buttons to like do certain moves, and I didn't have PlayStation symbols on my game controller, but look at that, they put little PlayStation symbols on there. Maybe just small enough that Sony won't see them. Also on the top, we've got PC-like I/O, so we've got a microphone headphone jack, volume up, volume down, power button, and this is freaking amazing. These triggers are apparently analog triggers. You can see the engine revving just a little bit, or a lot. I know this is an older game, but still, come on. Running at Ultra, it is a decent looking game still. Okay, I don't know what this behavior is. Did I mention it's pre-production? Alt, F4. Ha! I'd like to see you do that on your PS Vita. And there's 2 buttons back here that GPD says, according to the Fox, they're going to provide a software tool to remap buttons or even macros for. If their initial sort of software that they included on my early unit is anything to go by, I don't know how amazing that software will be, but hey, it'll be there. Like, some of these things seem pretty cool, just like quick shortcuts to tools you might like MSI Afterburner. We'll get that installed in a minute. But this resolution one kind of freaked me out earlier because I set it to 480 by 640, not realizing, because I was just looking at it quickly, that that's a vertical resolution. And then it's like stuck here. And I was like, wait, what? I can't. I'm stuck now. It's okay, we can get out of it by pressing A and then going back to the widescreen resolution. Now, you probably see here, it runs at 1280 by 720. So that is not a lot of resolution. But on a screen this small, that's something like 270 pixels per inch. So text is noticeably blurry, but in games, I'm not expecting it to be a problem. The bigger issues for me are the size. It's 5.5 inches. It would have been really nice if the bezels were just a little smaller, and pixel response time. So as you even just drag a window around on the screen, you can tell that this HIPS display, while it has really vibrant colors, is not great when it comes to pixel responsiveness. Also, it only runs at 60 Hertz, which isn't going to be an issue for AAA gaming, but if you're running indie or older games, you could have potentially taken advantage of a higher refresh rate display. There's a couple other things I want to show you. It has a micro SD slot over here that I've got loaded up with a 512 gig card. We'll see how that works, as well as GPD's typical mouse/game controller switch mode button here. So what this will do, it's not actually working on my early unit here, but it'll allow you to use the joysticks and shoulder buttons as your mouse. From my previous experience with it, it works really freaking well, like impressively well, and you probably won't end up missing a touchpad at all. On the bottom, oh yeah, I didn't even mention this. Stereo speakers, Thunderbolt 4. Freaking Thunderbolt! So you know we're gonna be playing around with that later. Of course, the big thing everyone wants to know is, what is this keyboard like? It's backlit. You can tell it's illuminated from the top, and there's like a diffusion layer in there. Let's try, like, I don't know, what do people ask Cortana? Weather. There's a little bit of vibration, actually, but I don't know if I would quite describe it as haptic. Oh man, I mean, it's haptic, but it's more like the whole unit kind of vibrates. It's not like it feels specific to the keyboard. And the whole thing feels just like a piece of glass or something. Oh, did I mention this is Gorilla Glass 5 up here? There's only a left shift, so if you wanted to use punctuation, for example, you wanted to, capital Q, Quest. One bright spot is the hinge mechanism. Considering what a small company GPD is, this is surprisingly refined feeling. Like it slides up, locks in place, slides down nice and smoothly, locks in place, and I think I kind of have to forgive the admittedly horribleness of this keyboard, because the purpose of this device is gaming first. Like if we were looking at something like their previous P2, which was supposed to be a hyper-portable laptop for like typing up your essay on the train as you head into school at the last minute, this would have been unacceptable. But if it's just like, we need to save some space compared to a membrane keyboard, but we still want the ability to quickly Alt-Enter if a game opens in, windowed mode or something like that, then it's got everything that you really need. So I'm okay with it. I'd be negligent if I didn't say how well the fingerprint scanner works. The answer is really good, so that's a really good inclusion when you consider how hard it would be to type passwords on the included keyboard. Okay, can't tell if that's taking the screw out or just stripping it. I think it was stripping it. Oh, dang it. Maybe you're right, Andy. Might have to talk about the specs without being able to look at them. No, I think I got it. So we've got a Core i5 1135 G7 processor, so that sits right under this cooler here. We've got, that is surprising, a full-sized M.2, so that's an 80 mil M.2. With how many little tiny, like 40 millimeter ones are out there? I would have thought they would have gone with a smaller one. Intel Wi-Fi. So that's Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth right there with the antennas running, I don't know, somewhere, can't really tell. Yep, dedicated speaker. Wait. Whoa, hold on a second. Is this one fake? Oh. So far, all I've managed to okay, yes. It does have stereo speakers. Looks and feels pretty. They're not amazing. Whichever monitor you decide to order. They're functional. So the Spectrum QHD, so it's 1440p. Loud and functional. Got a vibration motor over here. Oh, cool, okay. Got these little spring-loaded contacts for the rear macro buttons here. And that's a 44 watt-hour battery. So GPD is rating this thing for 2 to 3 hours under heavy load, anywhere from kind of 6 to 8 under medium load, and 14 hours under a light load. Sounds reasonable enough to me based on what I know about this hardware, but it's gonna depend on how you configure it. So that Tiger Lake CPU in there with Xe graphics can go anywhere from 18 watts all the way up to 28 watts, and that's something you can change around in the BIOS. Oh, I didn't even mention RAM. So it's got 16 gigs of LPDDR4X 4266 memory, and that's really important because it's using onboard graphics. As you guys might know, GPUs are extremely memory bandwidth hungry, so the faster the system memory, the faster you can go with an integrated graphics card like the Intel Xe graphics in here. Popping the cooler off means I can't do any serious thermal tests, but This is a pre-production unit anyway, so we can't really do that. And, oh, actually, no, this is just the fan itself. This is not the heatsink. So what are we looking at here? Cooling for the VRMs, 2 heat pipes and a spreader on Intel's Tiger Lake CPU, GPU, and the RAM may be on the other side of the board. I'm not gonna pop the whole board out right now. Some of our system memory is actually down there. So that means you might have an issue when it comes to mounting double-sided M.2s in here. It's curious that they wouldn't have just gone with a higher profile mount for it because it's not, oh yeah, no, they don't have the space. Yeah, that's why. All right. Oh, since we're at it, this is a pretty unexceptional looking BiWin SSD, but what's cool is that this is actually PCI Express Gen 4 Tiger Lake is. So if you wanted to, you could put like a ballin' Gen 4 M.2 in here, as long as it's not double-sided. It's a 1 terabyte drive. I guess I never mentioned that before. So we have enough space for it if we have the horsepower for it. Show you guys, we're running at about 3.5, 3.6 gigahertz right now, CPU at 100% while we download Cyberpunk. Now watch this. Literally half the CPU frequency. So you're gonna see even on Wi-Fi, my download speed's probably gonna suffer a little bit in a bit here. I know this is still not gaming, but it is worth mentioning, like just navigating around on this thing. This is a fast freaking CPU. Like this is not some Atom freaking thing. Like it's responsive. I figured medium details, no motion blur, DirectX 12 would be a reasonable target for Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I think it's fair to say this game runs at 30 FPS, medium details. You know what I want to know though? Okay, if I happened to be next to a wall outlet, well then what? Oh yeah, I never mentioned this button. It's just got a little X on it, presumably for trademark infringement reasons, but it's an Xbox button. Surprisingly, when it comes to a GPU load, we actually don't get any additional performance for being plugged in, so that's great news for mobile gamers anyway. Oh, I love these joysticks. They're really good. Little bit longer trial. It'll take some getting used to, but I really like them. Hello. Dang it, there's so much stuff I want to run on this. Like, man, playing Broforce on this thing? By the way, if you haven't played Broforce, sick game. Check it out, bruh. There's definitely some driver issues. Doom Eternal wouldn't launch, said something about known compatibility problem, Intel graphics. They clearly have some work to do. And Squadrons, wait, what just happened? Squadrons, I don't know, the models were flickering in the menu. Oh, I'm gonna fly into an asteroid. Well, the point is the game runs. Memory card in slot A is corrupted, needs to be, okay. It's not, strictly speaking, Mario Tennis, but I have definitely played Wii Tennis. What is this? What? It's running great though. I'm at like nearly a locked 60 FPS. I sincerely hope that it goes without saying that this is not exactly a use case that I would recommend. I mean, a 2080 Ti or whatever the current version of this is, Gigabyte sent over this Aorus external dock quite some time ago. It's like obviously overkill for gaming at 720p. This is something that's really annoying about the 720p display. Windows 10 is really just not designed for a display that's that low res. So when you right click on the taskbar, for example, you have to do this little scroll down thing to see the task manager. Like there's gonna be elements of Windows that are just kind of off screen sometimes. I'd rather have a 1080p panel and then just run it non-native 720p in games, or run it 720p upscaled. Ultra high, VSync off. Oh shoot, FrameView is not running. Because we're only using part of that CPU, GPU, Tiger Lake combo here, like not even loud. To be clear, I am not recommending this use case, but it was important to show just to demonstrate how versatile this thing is. Everything from emulating classic games to running modern games on this hardware at playable frame rates to streaming off of a network-connected local machine or a service like xCloud or Stadia to hooking a fat GPU up to it. This thing can literally do all of it. There's definitely some deficiencies. It's heavy. I think the shape, like the overall ergonomic shape, could have used a little bit more work, and I expect this thing to be well over $500, possibly even dangerously close to $1,000. But if you're the kind of user who's dreamed of something like this, your dream has finally come true. Of course, I should include some caution about Kickstarters and Indiegogos. In fact, we did a video recently talking about how backing crowdfunded technology can often end up being a disaster because even if they do deliver, by the time you get it, it might be obsolete and there's already something better from a more reputable company. But on the subject of reputation, GPD actually has a great track record at this point, and it seems like they mostly just use it as like an interest gauging or cash flow exercise for new products to get their runs right. So with that in mind, man, this thing is sweet. That's all I have to say, other than to thank our sponsor, LG, for sponsoring today's video. LG has launched their virtual showroom for CES 2021, and the new LG Gram 2021 has been announced. You can check out LG and the LG Gram in their virtual showroom, where they're gonna have all the latest technology on display. The new Grams all are running the latest Intel 11th gen processors with Iris Xe graphics. Oh, that worked out well. So they're gonna have like this same kind of graphics grunt. They're Evo certified, and they have a new size, 16 inches, that weighs just 2.98 pounds with an 80 watt-hour battery. Fun fact, the new 16-inch model has the Guinness World Record for being the lightest laptop of its size. 14 and 17-inch size options are still available, and all the displays are 16 by 10, giving you 11% more screen area. They're lightweight, with long-lasting batteries, and there's an LG Gram survey where you can win prizes if you fill it out. So you can check out all of that at the link in the video description. If you guys enjoyed this video, maybe check out our previous GPD videos, because that stuff's pretty sweet too. Oh, actually, here, there's one more thing I didn't mention. This gives you a better look at the slide mechanism. I asked our designers for something other than black or gray, and this is what they came up with for a TechLinked hoodie. You'll have to let us know in the comments what you think of it.